Hey everyone, I'm Cosmic, and welcome to the Cloud. We finally got an announcement for a Splatoon 3 Direct. I am so excited. And you know what that means. Free content. Yep, this had to happen at some point. My giant wish list of all the things I want to see in Splatoon 3. I was actually going to make this video without the Splatoon 3 announcement, but Nintendo just likes to shadow drop giant news out of the middle of nowhere, so here we are. All my predictions are going to be proven either right or wrong by tomorrow, but I figured I might as well share these ideas while I have them and get hyped with everyone else in the community. So first things first, I already made a video about gear and a video about the rank systems in Splatoon 1 and 2. I went pretty in depth on the changes I would want to see in those videos, so if you're interested, go check those out. I won't be repeating myself here, but those two topics are very important and include some of my most relevant hopes for the third game. By the way, thank you for the support on those videos. I've tried to organize my thoughts into a few different categories for this video, but it will just be a lot of me rambling about things I want to see, so be prepared for that. First things first, gonna start super basic. Can we please just get an actual party system for Turf War? It's ridiculous that we have to literally just like spam the button and hope that we get in before the lobby fills up. Just give us the league system where we can make a party and choose our weapons and then queue up for a game. The random thing is fun, maybe make that a separate option, but like most of the time I'm just gonna want to play on the same team as my friends. So I really hope we just get an actual party system for that. I don't know why that doesn't exist yet. And as far as the rotation system to a lot of people seems kind of outdated and pointless, and I partly agree. A lot of people have suggested that they add a map vote system similar to Mario Kart, where you just get 3 random maps to choose from, and then the game randomly picks from the selections, and that might work out. I'm a little nervous about map voting because I just like the fast pace of Splatoon lobbies. It's really nice getting into new games really quickly. I'm scared a voting system would just kind of take too long, but they could probably streamline it and make it better. I don't really mind game mode rotations that much for ranked, honestly. Like, I know people think it's annoying to be forced to play certain game modes. I think having at least 2 modes available at a time would be really nice. Just the one kind of sucks because, you know, sometimes you really just don't want to play Clan Blitz. But for Turf War and hopefully some kind of free play mode where we can play other modes without a rank, like I talked about in my rank video, a map voting system would be nice. Next up, single player. Oh boy, there are so many things the developers could do with the Splatoon 3 single-player campaign, and there's a chance they might not do much. We've seen both sides of this. We know that they aren't afraid to play it safe and give us a simple story. Bad guy take good thing, kill bad guy, take thing back. But we've also seen the lengths they're willing to go to add depth and lore to the Splatoon universe. The escape sequence of Octo Expansion is filled with really creative, varied gameplay, striking environments, and even some really fun writing and plot moments. So what will Return of the Mammalians be like? Well, I'd like to believe that Octo Expansion is the new standard, and that this campaign won't disappoint. But I don't want to get my hopes too high. To start, we're still just fighting the Octarians. There's something interesting happening with this fuzzy ink, but, you know, it's still Octarians. I was honestly pretty disappointed when I saw this. I figured Splatoon 3 is when we would finally get an overhaul of the Splatoon bestiary, and go up against enemies different in both gameplay and narrative context than the Octotroopers we've been fighting for 7 years. Maybe it's asking too much to expect the devs to scrap every previous enemy design, but I just don't want this to feel like more of the same. I really hope they're able to give this campaign its own identity. That's the main thing Octo Canyon, and to some extent the original Octo Valley lacked, a unifying theme. The vaporwave aesthetic and 80s theming of Octo Expansion was so good, and clearly a part of the design process for every single element of the DLC. I mean, the level titles are movie references, the dialogue and technology is old-fashioned, everything forms together into this trippy nostalgia wonderland, and it's just so unique and interesting. In what other game could you fight a giant Macintosh Plus head using a Tupac cosplayer's MacBook? Basically, I hope Return of the Mammalians gives us a reason to remember it. Give us cutscenes, give us characters, and give us memorable levels. I know I'm being extremely vague, but I kinda have to be, because it's really hard to predict Nintendo. One of the main things that'll probably set this campaign apart is Little Buddy. They vaguely said that he can help you attack Octarians and maybe solve puzzles or interact with certain mechanics, so I'm really excited to see what they do with that, but it's really hard to guess what that might actually entail. As far as the story, I really don't know. There's weird human artifacts, there's a rocket, I think it's gonna be cool, I think it's gonna be weird. Looking back at the Final Fest dialogue, it feels like they might try to raise the stakes again, maybe something similar to the threat of worldwide destruction brought upon us by Commander Tartar, but I don't know. One thing we do know about the story mode is that the Sunken Scrolls will be returning. Honestly, I have mixed feelings about this. You might be surprised to hear that, considering how much I like Splatoon lore. To be clear, I'm very excited about the fact that we're going to be getting a ton of new details about the world of Splatoon. but I think the reason Octo Expansion's level pacing felt so good is because you didn't have to constantly worry about missing a secret item. In general, I don't think it's bad to have collectibles in the levels, but the issues with scrolls is that if you miss it and use the next launch pad, you have to replay the entire level to get it again. There are a few ways they could solve this. When jumping between sectors of Octo Canyon in Splatoon 2, the game waits for you to move out of the way, and then spawns a launch pad that leads back to the previous area. If every launch pad in the game worked this way, you would be able to backtrack through a level to find secrets instead of having to replay the entire thing from the start. There are likely to be at least a few places where this wouldn't work so well, so there would have to be some points of no return, but I think making most level segments traversable both ways would do wonders for the overall pacing of the game and stop players from getting annoyed. At the very least, we should just be able to run back into a level, grab the scroll, and then back out to the hub without playing the second half of the level again. What I'm personally hoping for is that they're hidden outside of the levels. Splatoon 3 seems like it might be giving us more expansive hub areas to explore. Imagine how cool it would be to discover the scrolls in organic environments. Having them physically strewn about the landscape would make them feel a lot more like an actual part of the world, and there could be some environmental storytelling to explain how each scroll got left behind. Okay, I'm probably getting ahead of myself now. Realistically, the hidden scrolls are probably going to be the same as always, but a man can dream. Although, the scrolls are apparently not all hidden. The Japanese tweet about scrolls says that we'll find them as we advance through the story, and the English tweet says, find the hidden ones. Maybe some scrolls were deemed important enough to be given for free alongside story progression. Maybe there's some important backstory that the devs want to make sure every player is aware of. Or maybe we get one for defeating bosses like in Splatoon 1, and they give us access to multiplayer weapons. Or access to something else. Yeah, it's hard to tell what they're going to do with scrolls, but they are doing something, and that's exciting. Honestly, the music we've heard so far in Splatoon 3 is amazing. I've always been someone who's preferred Splatoon 1's soundtrack over 2, but I also think it's super cool how the in-game music taste evolves over time, so I wouldn't want to just go back to that exact style. So far, Splatoon 3's music feels like a perfect fusion of old and new, and I'm all here for it. Squid Squad is back, mostly, with See Me Now, and god, I love this song. It has this more angsty, emotional feel to it, which I never knew I needed in a Splatoon song, but it works so well. Hearing Squid Squad's vocals in a new song after several years is honestly kinda surreal, and I'm really excited to see the other songs by them. I'm just praying that the Chorpy Chips also return. They're a fan favorite, so I'd like to think they will, but they're also one of the only bands to appear in both the previous games, so I'm scared they might be left out this time. And as far as, like, bottom feeders, they can do as their name implies. These songs aren't bad, but they aren't Splatoon. The fiddles and trumpets always just felt really out of place to me. I'm personally glad we're getting back to the pop rock sound that defined the first game's music. Idol/Splatfest music is probably going to go hard no matter what, so I'm not worried about it. Same thing goes for Singleplayer, really. Speaking of Splatfest, Splatfest are a really cool part of Splatoon that draw immense hype and bring everyone in the community together. On paper, they're amazing, and honestly, I don't have too many changes in mind. The only thing that really sucks about Splatfest is that the option to play ranked disappears while the event is active. This is probably the main complaint you'll hear from people such as me who get kinda bored of just turf war. But rather than letting us play normal ranked during Splatfest, I think they could take it a step further. Let us play the ranked game modes while contributing points to our Splatfest team. I can kinda see why they wouldn't want the typical rank system to be available during the event, but it could easily be replaced by a unique power system just like Splatoon 2's Splatfest solo mode. They could have a lot of fun incorporating the modes into the event with special decorations on the objectives. Imagine the Rainmaker shooting fireworks, or the tower playing a special jingle. Things like that would make the modes feel exciting and make each event even more special. Shifty stations should probably stay exclusive to Turf War, as it's much harder to balance a map with one or more objectives in mind. Honestly, I'd be fine with that. Splatfest are fun and exciting as they are, but I would personally have a lot more fun with them if I could play the ranked game modes with my friends while they were going on. And now, apartments. No, look, I get it. I'm obsessed with the Splatoon 1 loading screen. I absolutely love looking at all the details hidden in this room and have definitely spent way too much time imagining what it would be like to live in Inkopolis. But do I think we will actually get customizable rooms in the game? Not really. This randomly became a feature that a lot of people have been talking about leading up to Splatoon 3. And honestly, I don't really get why. Like, don't get me wrong, I have 600 hours in Animal Crossing. I have a 5-star island. I get that this kind of customization is cool. I just don't really see what it would add to the game. Splatoon 3 does seem to have an even bigger emphasis on customization than the past two games, and this could be a cool opportunity for some world building and characterization of the Inklings and Octolings, but I just can't see it being worthwhile enough for the devs to program a whole fleshed out decoration mode. But I was also a person who doubted we would ever get playable Octolings. To me, it just seemed like a random community pipe dream, and I never felt passionately about it either way. But as it turns out, we very much did get Octolings, and it was awesome. Octolings are a little bit different than apartments though, since they were something requested by the Western and Eastern communities, and they were already basically in the code, and they were just something that would obviously kind of work. Apartments, on the other hand, just feel so detached from anything we've seen in the game so far, and I really don't see them happening, but since they're talked about so often, I figured I'd at least bring it up. And that's pretty much it for stuff I can realistically talk about. I really want at least one new ranked mode, 2 would be amazing, and some other kind of mode we've never even seen before like Salmon Run would be amazing, and totally justify this game being a sequel. I'm not really worried about this being like a Splatoon 2.5 situation, but, you know, anything big being added to the game would be great for the game. So I absolutely would love any announcement like that. We've been talking about the Splatoon 3 Direct for so long, it's honestly hard to believe it's actually real this time. I won't be able to see it live, but I will be recording my reaction and probably talking a little bit at the end of the video once I collect myself after watching it. If there is Flounder Heights, I will scream. I hope to see you guys then. But until then, you can follow my Twitch for streams and my Twitter for art. And with that, this has been Cosmic. Farewell.